So today I'm showing you how I built acoustic panels for my office. I believe you can build this it took about half an hour to 45 minutes to build two of these. And I'm basically using repurposed material. The 1/8 inch panel that I'm using used to be a 48-inch panel, but I realized that I didn't like the look of it with all the foam acoustic panels on it, so I'm going for a smaller size, which will be a 24-inch squared panel using 4 of the foam acoustic panels. So I'm just using a regular utility knife to cut the utility board. The challenge, which is not necessarily a challenge because you can just place a ruler there to keep your hand straight and cut on the line that I marked with a pencil. So I'm cutting two pieces at 23 inch by 23 inch, so that will allow for approximately a half an inch hangover from the foam panels. That way you won't see the actual base of the panel won't be visible, because the foam panels will be extending out approximately between half an inch to 3/4 of an inch, which will make sure there are no gaps visible between one panel and the one next to it. One thing I would say makes cutting these panels a lot easier is using the foam board that you can see I have underneath there, the foam panel, sorry. It makes it a lot easier. You can just put it on your walk top and place the panels on top of them and cut them easily. So right now I'm just going through my pile of strips that I had cut for other projects, trying to find pieces that are between 22 inches and 23 inches long, because the panel that I'm building is 23 inches squared. So I need two pieces that are 23 inches long and two pieces that are 21.5 inches long to connect those two together, so we have a 23-inch squared frame onto which I'll be attaching the utility panel. I ended up finding longer strips that I will cut down to the lengths that I need. So I needed a total of 4 23-inch long pieces and 4 21.5-inch long pieces to connect those together. Remember, we're making 2 sets of these, so making sure I have everything I would need to build the 2 panels. So just in case I didn't mention it, these strips are actually they were ripped at 1/4 inch, so they're 1/4 inch wide, and I'll be cutting them to the lengths that I need for the panels. I just took the time to measure most of them so I can have them ready for other projects. And now it's onto the bandsaw, on which I'll cut the pieces down to the lengths that I need. Stick around for a tip that I share with how you can cut longer pieces that won't necessarily go through your bandsaw using the bandsaw. So here's a quick tip. I have a 10-inch bandsaw, which means I can't cut any strips that are longer than 10 inch on the left side of the blade. So what I did here was to make a random angle cut next to the point where I wanted to cut it, and then flip it over to cut the side I've marked. Now you should be able to cut it exactly where you marked it. And that's one way you can cut longer strips that won't fit through your bandsaw. With all the strips cut, it was time to start assembling what will be the frame of the panel. As with all my projects, I'm using my favorite tight bond, quick and thick wood glue for this project. So to fasten the 4 strips together, I'm using the glue and some 1¼ brad nails, and then I'll use some self-drilling panel screws to attach the panel to the strips. I just added some glue there to keep it in place while I flip it over, and then I'll use these panel head screws to attach the panel onto the frame underneath. I like using these self-drilling screws because then it eliminates one step of having to pre-drill the holes, and since the foam panels will be covering those, it really didn't matter if they were showing at the top there, because they will be covered by the foam panels. Now it was time to lay out the foam panels and then fasten them onto the base. The foam panels have about ½ inch of overhang. This would ensure that the base onto which the foam panels are attached to is not visible at any time. All you would see there is just the foam panels and nothing else. It will just seem like you have a continuous array of the foam panels on the wall. So that's it. The first panel of the 24-inch squared is done, and we're going to make a second one, which will almost be identical to the same process we used for the first one. The only difference being that I used tacking nails in addition to the self-drilling screws. That way I don't use up too many self-drilling self-drilling screws. I think I used about 4 self-drilling screws, and then I used the tacking nails. That way I don't use up too much of the self-drilling screws. And actually that is a cheaper option to use in place of the self-drilling screws. They're not that expensive, but they're way cheaper than the self-drilling screws. Just an option there. So depending on how much wall space you need to add the panels to, you can basically just rinse and repeat the process and create as many panels as you need. And you can stack them in a pattern. They don't need to be in a straight line. Have fun with it. I believe this is a good time to remind you that you have special gifts that were given to you by the ultimate creator. We all have some form of creativity built into our DNA by our ultimate creator. For most of us, we'll spend the rest of our lives fully discovering and fully developing that gift so that we have a sense of purpose in this life as we serve our families, our loved ones, and all the people that we come across with. So as usual, all you need is just a little faith and some DIY action to tackle any DIY project. Until next time, know that I'm here to support you and to cheer you on in your DIY journey. Stay blessed by a wonderful creator and make something using your creativity.